Jeremy, so tell us about the opportunity to buy and sell what had been private. Let's say venture investments.
Yeah, it's actually been an incredible, of all of the asset classes that trade over second market, our private company stock market has really been the fastest growing, most exciting ones. So essentially, holders of shares in private companies like Facebook or Zynga or LinkedIn or Twitter, they have the ability to sell their shares in those companies over second market, even though those companies are still private.
Wow. And how does that work? I mean, not to get too deep into it, the buyer and the seller register, or what is the marketplace?
Yes, well, anybody can sell, but the only people who can buy are what are called accredited investors or qualified institutional buyers. In other words, wealthy, sophisticated investors. And all that happens if you're a holder of private company stock, whether you're an ex-employee or an early angel investor or a venture capitalist who invested in the firm, you have the ability to sign up for second market. It takes 60 seconds and essentially list your shares for sale. Now, we have both an electronic trading platform where buyers can see what's available, but we also have market specialists. These are experts in private company stock sales who help the buyers and sellers. They help educate them, guide them, and really facilitate transactions so that you can sell your stock.
Okay, so how's the market these days for the private? I mean, is it cyclical? Does it depend strictly on the fundamentals of a company? Is it sort of, are there any trends you're seeing?
There are a couple of things. To the first question, it's actually going very well. We launched the private company stock market just a little over a year ago, and in that year, we've done approximately $250 million in private company stock transactions. Last year, we did about $100 million in total, and just in the first quarter of this year, there was around $130 million in private company stock transactions done. So the growth has been absolutely tremendous. And early on, the transactions were taking place in a limited number of companies. In fact, for the first few months, it was all Facebook stock. But now we've done transactions in several dozen startup companies. Now, the theme is they're all successful. This isn't a junkyard for startup companies that don't work. These are really good startup companies. But they range from household name companies, again, like Facebook, Zynga, Twitter, LinkedIn, to companies that are very, very good. They're just not well known. And for those companies that are good but not household names, they just need to provide a little bit more information, a little more transparency, because people aren't going to buy off of the brand name like they do with some of those other more well-known companies.
Okay, so for Facebook, what would they do? Would they sort of say that they're going to put a certain amount in the private marketplace, and is there a valuation set by the marketplace, or how does it work?
Usually the way it works is you'll have a specific seller, so it won't necessarily be Facebook itself, but you'll have an ex-employee of Facebook who maybe has 500,000 shares. And they'll say, well, I no longer work for Facebook, I'd like to get some liquidity so I can buy my house or send my kids to college, so I'm going to list my shares on second market. And then what happens is the market actually sets the price. So second market doesn't do any valuation or anything like that. It's the bidders, the buyers who say, I'm willing to pay $40 a share for Facebook. Well, I'm willing to pay 42, 45, 47, and the high bidder is the one that wins the sale for the shares. And then the buyer will put the cash in escrow, a second market. The seller will put the shares in escrow, and then when both escrow accounts are filled, they exchange hands, and that way no one is left holding the bag by saying, wait, I gave away my cash, now where's my stock in Facebook? It's a very safe, secure process.
What is a share price of Facebook now, according to your marketplace? If there is something that you could look on your application and see.
There is, and I would absolutely love to tell you, but one of the key, probably the most important part of our strategy is to make sure that we work with the company and that we do this in accordance with how they want things done, so that the secondary market in shares for their companies happen in a way that they're comfortable with. And so as you can imagine, one of the first things companies tell us as we're working with them is don't publicly mention the stock price of our private company stock. So I would love to give the answer. Unfortunately, I can't, in the spirit of being friendly to our company customers.
How much of the Facebook stock, sales, trading is part of your overall run?
Well, of the $250 million in private company stock transactions that have been done over SecondMarket, about 40% of that is Facebook. The other, or I should say the next 25-30% is Zynga, LinkedIn, Twitter, those sorts of brand name companies. And then the remaining, I guess the math would work out about 30% or so, 30-35%, are a couple of dozen other companies, again, that are very successful, just not the household names.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.